Hey everybody, Michael South here and Dustin Koppel. We are at the Global Martial Arts Studio in Texas, having an awesome time training, and we just wanted to share with you guys some really important stuff that we were going over when it comes to ground fighting. So Justin and I actually both do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like every day. We really enjoy training Jiu-Jitsu. One of our favorite parts of that is that we get to go live with our students, with our training partners all the time. Every single time we train, we get to roll with people. So that's why as Krav Maga instructors, we favor a lot of stress drills. We do drills a lot because we want people to actually be moving in a way that feels logical and correct to them. And the best way really the only way to actually know if your defenses work is to test them against live resistance, right? So it's a super important thing to understand. But that being said, although we love rolling with people, I always say that I like rolling with people, but only on nice, soft, fluffy mats with people that like me, right? So a rule for self-defense in the way that we teach Krav Maga, although we love Jiu-Jitsu and it helps us teach Krav Maga really well, we don't want to ground fight ever in a street altercation if it can be avoided, right? And there's a couple of really important things about that we wanted to go over. So number one, first and foremost, when you are grappling with somebody in a fight, your environment, it's always terrible. The person that's on bottom and the person on top, they're scraping their knees, it's not comfortable, you're not on nice fluffy mats, and the being on the ground actually makes you get more injured. So like the shots that you're taking actually do more damage on the ground than they do standing. And the reason for that is very simple. If I'm sparring stand up with somebody and I punch them in the face, their head goes back, and the momentum, the force that I just hit them with will dissipate as that happens. If their head is on the ground and I punch them and the back of their head is anchored to the concrete, that force is going to reverberate through their head. There's no give, and so that give is going to come out somewhere. So a guy this size on top of me, punching me as hard as he possibly can, will literally crush my skull. Like, it'll very easily break orbital bones. You can start to cave the skull in. You even see that in MMA fights. Skulls can get caved in. And so that's a very, very scary situation. We certainly don't want to take damage on the ground, or anywhere, but on the ground especially. But also the one thing that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, although we love it, will never be able to answer is the question of multiple opponents, right? Absolutely. I mean, you can be the most skilled grappler in the world, you can be beating somebody, but if his buddy comes in, or three of his buddies come in, start kicking you in the head, you're done. I mean, we do have some defenses, and we will certainly teach you, if somebody's trying to soccer kick you in the head, how to maybe block that, how to maybe take them down, disengage, that sort of thing. But if you're tangled up with somebody and somebody else comes along, if we're standing, we can use objects in our environment. We can try to stack them up. We can try to get around cover of some kind. We can manipulate other people as we're doing combatives to them. We can use them as a human shield between somebody else trying to attack us. On the ground, you just can't do any of that stuff. So we are going to go over some ground defenses in our Krav Maga curriculum, but it's just important to understand that the main reason that we have to do that is because of the prevalence of ground fighting training just in general today. A lot of people did wrestling when they were in school. Even if they only did it for a couple of years, they still understand the concept of base, understand maybe how to do a double leg takedown with somewhat efficacy, that sort of thing. A lot of people train jiu-jitsu, or at least have some understanding of jiu-jitsu positions. So as we go over just some of the basic things that might happen to you with somebody with a little bit of grappling experience, understand that number one, it's always our goal to cause some pain, disengage, get away, stop grappling. We never want to end up on the ground in a street altercation. But also we want to understand those positions so we can understand how not to get hurt with them. So if you understand how a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu armbar functions, then you're going to be much better able to defend that armbar if it's ever put on you than if you don't even know what's happening. Okay? If you don't know what's happening on some sort of a joint lock like that in Jiu-Jitsu, you're not going to know until it breaks if you don't understand that ahead of time. So if we teach you an armbar, a triangle, a guillotine, that sort of thing, at least you'll know how to do it if you don't have any grappling experience before. So we'll know how it functions, we can defend it, we can disengage, get out of there. So just know that those are a couple of the key points we want everybody to be aware of with ground fighting or grappling in a street fight.